matches to come.
And as we get started, Thayer Atkins, Cody Karns for Duke and North Carolina, respectively. 3-11 on the season for Atkins, 3-12 on the season for Karns. Both of them looking for their first win in ACC dual match play.
Brian kicking this off at 125 pounds. Both of these young men want to get offense going early to set the tone, not only for this match, but for the entire bout.
And our first points of the match, both at 125 and in total, are going to belong to the Tar Heels, Brandon.
Absolutely. UNC wrestler just had a great drag from a front headlock. Thayer's going to have to really work from that position and not hang in his ties. And right now, it's very important that he gets an escape and gets back to his feet and starts getting momentum going.
There's that escape you mentioned, 2-1. Now the score, as Cody Karns continues to lead 20. And I was just going to point out the riding time was continuing to count up, even though the wrestlers were not in a position where that should have been the case. So the referee has stopped it. 23 seconds of riding time on the clock now for Thayer Atkins. Those new to the game of wrestling, a minute of riding time is an extra point at the end of the match and can often decide things in situations where the match itself is very close.
Now, Thayer Atkins, as a 125-pounder, is sort of unorthodox. A lot of 125-pounders like to wrestle from the outside, shoot from their outside ties, and Thayer actually prefers working from his ties. He likes his underhooks, his collar ties, his two-on-ones, and that sort of thing. So we're going to really see him sort of fight to that position this entire match.
Talking to Coach Lanham earlier today, he said Thayer's really strong for his weight. It's obviously just such vastly different styles when you get to these different weight classes. You were 133 at one point, 141 at another point in your career. How does the strategy adjust given different weight classes? Because obviously a ton more movement at these weights than you'd see at the heavyweights.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's night and day when you look at a 125-pound match compared to a heavyweight. And really, there's a lot of variance between each weight, but there's also a lot of variance at those weights. You'll see a guy, Thayer Atkins, you know, he's short, he's stocky, he's strong, but I've seen my fair share of 6-foot 125-pounders, and really you just kind of have to address the different body types as is, and you're going to see a lot of that all throughout the weights.
53 seconds to go here in round one. Wrestlers will come back to the center of the circle. 2-1, the advantage still rests with Cody Karns. Both of these wrestlers wrestling as freshmen. Karns, a redshirt freshman. Atkins, a year ago, was a high school wrestler. Under 30 seconds to go now in round number one. 3 rounds to a match. Overtime if it's tied. Nothing doing for either wrestler here for a fairly significant period of time.
Atkins is working the collar tie. He's really looking for his elbow passes. Karns is really just maintaining a solid position. He already got his takedown for the period, and he's looking to kind of end this period on top.
5 seconds left. Atkins trying for the late takedown. It is not going to happen, and that is more. After round number one, Cody Karns leads Thayer Atkins 2-1. Art, your thoughts?
Good aggressive wrestling early on, Brendan, and then I think it kind of hit a lull as they were feeling each other out. You mentioned the early takedown for North Carolina, that he was basically just trying to hold on, keep his 1-point advantage as we get to the second period.
Yeah, absolutely. One of Thayer's primary positions is from that front headlock, and when you get scored on from one of your better positions, a lot of times it leads to a lull in the wrestling until you can kind of figure out and make adjustments later down the road.
That's going to be a quick escape there for Thayer Atkins, and we are tied now at 2. Atkins electing to start in the down position.
Oh, great shot by Thayer. He's going to look to get this high, and he needs to keep this in the middle of the mat. And there's the
crowd enjoying that one as Thayer Atkins throws Cody Karns to the ground. First advantage of the match for Atkins. 4-2 lead for the Blue Devils.
Right here is an extremely important position. Thayer just got the takedown, and Karns is flat on his belly here. Right here is a great time to get rid of riding time and build his own. And if he can, really needs to just keep Karns in bounds and keep working on this riding time.
Karns trying to crawl out of bounds. Riding time is back to 0. And now, in fact, in favor of Thayer Atkins once again for the first time this match. The referee will have them go back to the center of the mat.
Brian, you see the crowd getting into it early on. We talked about it all day long in the office prior to this match. Early bouts set the tone for the rest of the evening. And Brandon, you can speak to that. Watching the 125-pounders, you know what a solid start that can do for either team, whichever wins this bout.
Yeah, definitely. I was a 133-pounder for most of my career, so I can't speak to how important it is to really get a great start off after the 125-pound match. Getting that big boost in the lightweights really sets precedent for the middleweights and the heavyweights to finish well.
Karns for a second looked like he was going to get the escape, but Atkins able to get him back onto his belly. Riding time now up over 30 seconds for Thayer Atkins here. First match at 125, first of 10 matches between Duke and North Carolina to try to decide this one. Under 30 seconds to go in round number 2.
Right now, as we're at the 20-second mark, Thayer Atkins just trying to hold on to this position, take it to the third period with a 2-point advantage.
Brandon, taking a look at the monitor here and having this above this sort of bird's eye view, your thoughts, what is Thayer Atkins trying to do right now? Is he trying to turn him over?
He is, absolutely. So Thayer is running an armbar. He has the wrist. This is a great position. Given if there were more time on the clock, he would absolutely be aggressive and looking for the turn. But as you can see, he just rode out the period and is now waiting to win this match in the third.
That is it for round number 2. 4-2 the score. Thayer Atkins lead. He does have more than a minute of riding time as well, so he does have that bonus point at this juncture.
Definitely.
And Atkins trying for the takedown once again.
Yeah, so if the match ended right now, Thayer would win by a score of 5-2 because he has that minute advantage. And really, Thayer's goal in this period is to keep that advantage and to keep looking to score.
93 seconds away from the first victory for the Blue Devils. Thayer Atkins, such a critical match. Young wrestlers, Brendan, as you mentioned earlier, both guys with just 3 wins on the young season, both trying to find themselves here at the college ranks. Minute 20 left now, 4-2 still the score. Into the third round now. What starts to go first? Your legs, your arms, your wind?
Your legs. Almost always it's going to be your legs. You're going to see a lot of little adjustments that sort of are different from the first period. Everything just sort of gets a little looser. You're not quite as tight. Your technique's not as refined. So a lot of times in the third, you wouldn't necessarily call it sloppy wrestling, but you're going to see a lot more scoring if both wrestlers open up.
And you see both coaching staffs getting into it. The crowd is getting into it. You had to see the referee literally lean in, cup his hands over his mouth, and scream at the wrestlers to get them to understand what he was saying. And another takedown. Thayer Atkins giving the Blue Devils a 6-2 lead.
Thayer just needs to ride this out, and he's basically put icing on the cake on this win.
As you mentioned, Brandon, riding time well over a minute at this point.
Yeah, riding time will be locked in about 14 seconds here. And once that happens, Thayer actually has the extra point, and nothing can take that away.
Yeah, mathematically speaking, Thayer now has the riding time to his credit, so this is going to take a remarkable comeback in the last 20 seconds, and quite frankly is unlikely to happen as the Blue Devils look like they're on the way to a 3-0 lead here after 125.
Just a terrific job by Thayer Atkins to come out. He was aggressive early. Things didn't go his way in that first period, but came back so strong in the second period, and now to be able to close it out in the third says a lot about that young man's character.
And the crowd's loving the last 5 seconds as Thayer Atkins secures the first points of the match, gives the crowd a couple of claps, and tries to get them engaged even more than they already are. 3-0 the Blue Devils lead. Up next will be 133 pounds. Brandon away.